Hi, so I'm with Nick Dearden from Global Justice Now, and Nick, you've just been down PNR. We're going to show you a speech in a video, but just tell us how you found the afternoon.
Just so inspiring. I mean, I've been really lucky that it's a lovely day. I'm sure there's been more difficult days, but I am just amazed by the energy, the enthusiasm. It's got a bit of a festival feel down there, and you know, you can tell that people have made new bonds, have learnt about new things, have got into politics often from just having a local concern, and are now concerned about justice issues far more broadly. And I think it's just a fantastic example of what people can achieve. And you know, I'm really convinced they're going to win after seeing the energy down there. And it's been going on for what, 18 months? Incredible.
18 months, yeah. And what do you think to the injunction process being used down here, first of all?
Well, look, I think this country is the leading country in Europe that's promoting this technology. It's promoting fracking. So what happens in this country is going to have reverberations across Europe, whether other governments think they can get away with it or not, and across the world. So we are a real world leader in this technology. And if the protesters can put enough spanners in the works of this process here, if they can slow it down or even stop it enough, this is going to have massive repercussions all around the world on the use of fracking. And I think that's why you're getting things like injunctions. This is why you're getting the Scottish government being taken to court. It's serious. This is frontline stuff. And so the community here and the community in some of the other places where they're trying it out, they are really acting on behalf of the whole world, on behalf of the environment as a whole. And you know, the company and those that support the company's interests are going to do anything they possibly can to get rid of this protest. What's happening in Scotland, I think, is disgraceful. That they're taking the government to court for essentially making a sensible decision in ordinary people's interests,
Yeah.
and in the interests of the environment. One of the things I was just down there talking about is trade deals, and under trade deals, you often have these mechanisms called corporate courts, which allow foreign businesses to take your government to a special secret court overseen by corporate lawyers whenever the government does something which the companies don't like. So when it does anything that's going to affect their bottom line, their profits. So what you've seen in Canada, for example, is the state of Quebec being taken to one of these corporate courts because it placed a moratorium on fracking in a similar way to the way the Scottish government's done. So it's bad now, but one of the things we're worried about is it could be even worse if we do a trade deal with the United States or various other countries that includes these corporate courts. So in protesting and campaigning about that, we're also hoping to allow communities like the one down here to have more democratic space so they can make their views heard on this issue. And I'm pretty sure the majority of this country don't want fracking. You know, they are speaking up for the majority, and we cannot allow that democratic process and the absolute right of protest to be challenged by corporations and secret courts.
Yeah. Speaking of the secret courts, it happened down here about 6 months ago that the courts ruled that we weren't allowed to find out who the shareholders and stuff were for Quadrilla and stuff like that, and it says a lot about the world, doesn't it, when a company can take a country to court.
Yeah, but you can't even find out who the shareholders of that company are.
Yeah.
So a company benefits from a complete veil of secrecy. And I mean, of course, no wonder they've become so powerful, because we've allowed them to have all of these rights. And really, in much international law today, you look at the way the World Trade Organization operates or the International Monetary Fund operates, very often it seems the only right that's really important is the right to make more money, is the right to profit. That seems to trump every human right, every human need, environmental protection, the whole lot. And we've really got to do something about this, because the kinds of really frightening stuff we're seeing now in the world, you know, whether it be the rise of Trump and the possibility of war on a more global scale, whether it be the environment essentially being brought to the edge of what it can bear, our species being threatened as a whole. This is all related to the kind of economic system that we've got that prioritises profit above ordinary people and their needs. And so this is just one small piece of how we need to challenge that and transform the world into something and create a political and economic system that actually benefits people's needs, not the greed of the very few at the top.
Cool. And what advice would you give to the people of Lancashire? Obviously, I mean, we're only on an interim injunction now, so it's 6 weeks. I mean, what advice would you give to them if they pass it as an injunction for indefinitely? I mean, what are we meant to do to that?
I think if you look at protests and movements that have been successful in history and are still successful today, the one thing to always bear in mind, to embed in your movement, is just don't give up. You are going to face massive setbacks. There is always the creativity to get around whatever they put in your way. The obstacle that you've presented to this industry over the last 18 months is absolutely massive. That's why they're getting a bit heavier in the way that they police it now. But that actually just proves that you're having an effect. Find any way you can around it to continue disrupting, to continue being an obstacle to what's going on here. It's a huge amount of pressure on the folks that are out there down the road, and they need all the solidarity and support they can get, and anybody who can get up here should come up here to give that support. But ultimately, if you look back in history, the people who've won are the people who've just been persistent through very, very dark times, very difficult times when the state, the government and the media were more against us than they are today even, and they triumphed despite huge adversity. So you look at the end of the slave trade, you look at votes for working people, votes for women, the end of apartheid in South Africa, great struggles, and the one thing they all had in common was don't give up, and to believe in yourself. People power really can make a difference. It's already made a difference here, and I've seen it make a difference on many of the issues we're working on. I was down there talking about TTIP, the big EU-US trade deal that we managed to stop 18 months ago. When we started that campaign 4 or 5 years ago, I would never in a million years have thought we would actually stop it so quickly, but we did, and it's people power, and we can stop this too. Cool.
And just going back to the Ineos versus Scotland, how do you think that is going to? What do you think the outcome is going to be?
I'm not sure, but all I can say is we hope that the Scottish Government triumphs, because if a government is no longer able to act on the public interest, the interest of the people who elected it, in the face of corporate power, then really what kind of democracy do we live in? I mean, can you even call this a political system where the majority are supposed to be in control anymore? You can't. So I don't know what's going to happen, but my hope is that the right of a government to make sensible public policy in the public interest will prevail.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for chatting to us, Nick. And on behalf of everyone up here, PNR, thanks for coming as well.
Thanks. Good luck.
All right. Cheers.